guys, welcome back to World of Tanks. My name is Bruce and today we take a look at every new perk inside the new Crew 2.0 system, as well as on the specialization of the new instructors. If you're interested in more reviews and gameplay, go to YouTube and search for World of Tanks with Bruce to get all of my videos, or click on the subscribe button. And now let's go. Alright guys, so here we are in the new interface and let's see how we can train our crews with the new Crew 2.0 system. So we have 5 basic categories that you can train: tactical training, gunnery training, technical training, driver training and operational training. Now some of the perks are pretty much old from the old system, but there are also some new ones that are new to the game and that enhance your possibilities to train your crew quite significantly. So let's start with the tactical training. First is quick reaction. When you spot an enemy, your aiming time is decreased by X% for 10 seconds. The effect timer resets each time you spot a new vehicle. So very useful, for example, on medium tanks with which you want to keep moving, then stand still, for example, in a bush, and then spot your opponents. Alright, next is eyes open. View range is increased by X%. When the skill is fully trained, level 10. Very important for most of the light tanks, super important for light tanks, super important also for medium tanks, and maybe also for some of the tank destroyers or even heavy tanks. Next one is coherence. Vehicle handling is increased by X%. The effect lasts until at least one crew member is stunned or injured. Okay. I think can be nice, but I think less important than the two previous skills. Next one is target tracking. When you cause damage to a target within your view range, the target remains spotted for an additional X second for 30 seconds. I think we had a comparable skill previously. It might be very useful, but once again I think less important than, for example, the eyes open skill. And then last but not least in this category, rotationing. Consumable cooldown time is decreased by X%. Can be useful, but I think also not as important as the previous ones. So I would go for eyes open and maybe quick reaction time as the first skills. Now, if you put 30 points into one group, so let's say you click on eyes open and select all 10, or click on it 10 times, and same for quick reaction, and maybe then same for target tracking, then those two additional perks will be selectable, and then you can, as you can see here, you have to select 30 times those skills in order to unlock those special perks, and then you can select either firefighting or team spirit. Now, what is firefighting? Firefighting means if the amount of damage you have caused exceeds 50% of your vehicle's durability, the level of vehicle handling is increased by 2.5% for each enemy vehicle you destroy. Okay, or the other one is team spirit. If the amount of damage caused with your assistance equals 2 or exceeds 75% of your vehicle's durability, the level of vehicle handling is increased by 2.5%. Okay, so this is the first group, tactical training. Let's go to gunnery training. The first that we have is vulnerability expert. When you use AP, APCR or heat shells, so keep in mind not HE shells, this is excluded here, the chance of damaging modules and injuring crew members of enemy vehicle is increased by X%. Okay, I think not super important. Let's go to the next one, fast aiming. The aiming time of a stationary vehicle is decreased by X%. I think this can be super useful on your, for example, medium tanks. For example, the AMX 30B and maybe also the Progetto 65, where the gun is a little bit sluggish and where you want to increase your gun stats. So super useful in my opinion. Now keep in mind, this only comes into play if your vehicle is stationary. So if you move to a bush, stand still, then this will be activated. Next one is Adrenaline Rush. When you lose X% of your vehicle's durability, aiming time is increased by 7%. And the percentage of durability you need to lose for the perk to activate is decreased by 5% per skill point spent. It looks like this can be very, very helpful if it is all the way up to level 10 and then maybe even increased further by your instructors. So yeah, you might want to test that one. Next one is Concentration. The range of potential damage you can cause is decreased by X%, and that just means that the RNG range is decreased. So there's some amount of minimum damage you can do and then some amount of maximum damage you can do, and this range is just increased, so you will your damage will get more consistently if you use Concentration. Last but not least, Snapshot. Dispersion on turret or gun traverse is decreased by X%. The skill does not affect dispersion during movement and hull traverse. Okay, so I think the most important ones are Snapshot and fast aiming, and maybe as a third one I would go to Adrenaline Rush. If you unlock 30 points, you can select between Rapid Fire and Clean Shot. So let's take a look at Rapid Fire. When you cause damage to an enemy vehicle, including critical hits, aiming time and dispersion during movement as well as on hull and turret traverse decreases by 10% for 5 seconds. Okay, and a Clean Shot means the minimum potential damage and minimum potential penetration value of your shells increase by 10% for 5 seconds after your gun reloads. The effect lasts until you fire a shot. Okay, so yeah, actually I'm also not sure about this one. We'll just have to test it out. Let's go to the next category. This is Technical Training. First one is Concealment. Concealment increases by X%. The effect is not active if your vehicle is on fire. Okay, that one is pretty old and I think one of the most important skills in the game. Why so? Well, because the game is all about view range, about getting spotted or not getting spotted. So it's about your view range, but also then your concealment. So what you definitely want to do is at least on your medium tanks and also on your light tanks and maybe also tank destroyers and sometimes even on your heavy tanks, you want to increase your view range, and then definitely on your light and medium tanks you want to increase your concealment. Next one is Quick Repair. We also know this one from the previous game. The repair speed of damaged modules is increased by X%. The effect is not active if your vehicle is on fire. Next one is Pain Threshold. The chance of crew member injury is decreased by X% and the negative effects from injuries are decreased by X%. Next one is Firefighting. That is also from the previous game experience. The chance of engine fire upon receiving hit or hits is decreased by X%. Firefighting accelerates by X%. Yep. And the next one is Safety Measures. The durability of internal modules is decreased by X%. If an internal module receives critical damage, the negative effect is decreased by X%. Okay, so definitely the biggest one is Concealment. Now, I think that this group will be super important just because of concealment, but I like the fact that the other ones are, in my opinion, slightly less important than the ones you could find on the gunnery or the tactical group. But yeah, it will be nice to see how the players decide. Now, if you unlock those two perks, you will be able to select first of all alarm signal. Stun duration is decreased by 10% and the chance of crew member injury is decreased by 50% for 10 seconds after Sixth Sense is activated. Well, can be very, very nice. And then Nerves of Steel. When you block incoming damage, dispersion decreases by 15% for 10 seconds. And this might be super, super useful for tanks like, for example, the Object 430U or other heavily armored medium tanks, for example the new 122 TM, where you want to waggle your hull in order to bounce shots, and then this gives you a bonus on your gun handling, so that can be super useful. I just made a video on the 122 TM that you also might want to check out. Okay, next group is driver training. First one is pedal to the metal. Vehicle acceleration is increased by X% when moving straight forward or backward. Next one is off-road driving. The ground resistance of all terrain types is decreased by X%. Next one is clutch braking. Hull traverse speed is increased by X%. The turning speed of wheels is increased as well for wheeled vehicles. Next one is smooth ride. Dispersion during movement and hull traverse is decreased by X%. The skill does not affect dispersion on turret or gun traverse. And last but not least, need for speed. When you reach a speed of 40 km per hour, dispersion during movement and hull traverse is decreased by X%. The skill does not affect dispersion on turret or gun traverse. So yeah, in my opinion, smooth ride is super important, and then you might want to use pedal to the metal for some tanks to even be a little bit quicker, maybe off-road driving to decrease the terrain resistance values. Alright, if you unlocked those 30 points, or if you put all the 30 points into this group, then you can activate active recon, which means in 5 seconds after you start moving, gun reload speed and view range are increased by 3%. That sounds super interesting. And quick start, acceleration and traverse speed are increased by 10%. The effect lasts until you receive damage. Yeah, that is also very nice. So I think those two specializations, active recon and quick start, can be very useful. Alright, let's go to the last group, operational training. The first one is Old Guard. Each time your internal module is damaged or destroyed, or a crew member injured, the chance of receiving successive damage is internal to internal modules and crew members is decreased by X%. The effect stacks up to 3 times. Alright. Intuition. If the gun is loaded, you can switch between shell types X% faster. Okay, we had that one also before. Then group tactics. This one is interesting. It's a new feature. If at least one allied vehicle of the same type is located within 50 meters of you, the level of vehicle handling is increased by X%. Keep in mind, for this perk to be activated, it needs to be an allied vehicle of the same type, but this might be very useful if you are playing in a platoon. Close combat. If at least one enemy vehicle is located within 50 meters of you, the level of vehicle handling is increased by X%. And here your vehicle handling is increased when an enemy tank is within 50 meters. So in my opinion, this one is, depending on the tank you are playing, more useful than this one. Why so? Well, because with this perk you are much more flexible, because you can decide on your own to engage the enemy vehicle in close combats. Here you always have to wait for an allied vehicle of the same type coming with you. Alright, and controlled impact. The damage you cause by ramming is increased by X%. The damage you receive upon ramming is decreased by X%. After you cause damage by ramming, engine power when reversing is increased by X%. Okay, so we had this one before. Now one thing to add to group tactics, obviously here you don't have to go into close combat with your enemies. So if you are in a platoon, this one is also activated. For example, if you are a Leopard 1 platoon and sniping from the back, then this will also help you in this situation. Alright, and last but not least, the special perks here are applied medicine. The level of vehicle handling is increased by 10% for 20 seconds when you use a first aid kit. The first aid kit cooldown is increased by 30%. You can use a first aid kit even if crew members are not injured. And applied mechanics. gun reload time decreases by 7.5% for 20 seconds when you use your repair kit. Repair kit cooldown increases by 30%. You can use a repair kit even if vehicle modules are not damaged. I think those two are very, very strong in close combat. For example, if you are in a 1v1 situation, you can significantly increase your DPM using applied mechanics and then finish off your opponent. So this will be super, super strong, but also to increase your vehicle handling in a certain situation might be super, super strong. Yeah, so all in all, I think the principal rules still apply. As I said, World of Tanks is a game where it's all about view range and concealment. So you want to get those perks, then you might also want to increase your gun handling for most of the tanks. But then there are some super nice and interesting features new in the game. For example, group tactics, close combat, and then, as I said, as special perks, applied medicine, applied mechanics. Super, super interesting. And yeah, so far so good. Let's now take a look to the instructors. Alright, let's now take a look on the instructors and on the specializations you can select for those instructors. Now, if you click on an instructor, you have level 2, level 3 and also level 1 instructors. And as you can see, you will have also 5 categories that you can select. If you select tactics, then you get specializations for tactics. And then you will be able to select between Keen Eye, Team Player and Artillery Observer. And as you can see, for Keen Eye, that brings you an increase of target tracking and eyes open. Team Play will increase your coherence and your group tactics, and Artillery Observer will increase your quick reaction and your concealment. Now, if you select the gunnery group, then you will be able to select between self-control, gun expert and munitions expert. Self-control gives you adrenaline rush and concentration. Gun expert gives you an increase of snapshot and fast aiming. And munitions expert gives you an increase of concentration and intuition. If you select the maintenance category, then you can select between Handyman, Skill Driver and Iron Wield. Handyman gives you an increase in firefighting and quick repair. Skill Driver lets you increase safety measures and pedal to the metal. And Iron Wield lets you train pain threshold and close combat. If you select the driving category, then you will be able to select between evasive maneuvers, which gives you an increase for Need for Speed and Old Guard. If you select Rammer, then you will get an increase on pedal to the metal and controlled impact. And if you use Precision, this will give you an increase to smooth ride and rotationing. And finally, if you select the operations group, then you will be able to select between Battle Hardened, Duelist and Combat Instincts. Battle Hardened gives you an increase to Old Guard, Duelist to Close Combat and Combat Instincts to Intuition. And as you can see, this time we only have a class 3 instructor, and this is why you only get a bonus to one perk and not to 2. You have to keep in mind that you will not be able to retrain a commander, so choose wisely the respective nation that you want the instructor to support your commander. You can only select that once. And then also, if you have selected a specialization for your commander, you will not be able to change this specialization of your instructor. So keep that in mind. You cannot change the specialization of your instructor. Keep that in mind and choose wisely. Alright guys, that was it with an insight on the new perk system in order to be prepared and to know what you want to select once you convert your crews. I made a video about how to convert your old crew into a new 2.0 crew, so check that video out. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the new Crew 2.0 system. Which perks do you think will be superior and which ones will be unnecessary? If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Consider subscribing to my channel, and I see you next time in another World of Tanks video.